Alien princess mocked the human, laughing, "If he wins, I will be his slave forever." But she didn't know what she just said would make her regret forever. Please like, share this video, and subscribe to the channel to know what she did wrong. Comment below to know what you think. And now, let's begin. The arena of eternity drifted in lazy orbit above the gas giants churning violet storms. Clouds the size of continents swirling in silent thunder. Flashes of indigo lightning painting the underside of the ringed platform in slow, dreamlike pulses. 1,000 warriors milled across the arrival decks, boots clanging on alloy wide enough to swallow entire Earth cities, breath fogging in the recycled chill. Alex Rains stepped through the final iris gate, the old leather jacket creaking across his shoulders like a second skin. No gleaming armor, no subdermal implants glowing under the skin, just the faint scent of Neo-London rain trapped in the seams since his father last wore it. Heads turned, some with curiosity, others with the lazy smirk of predators spotting easy prey. Holographic announcers blossomed in towering pillars of light, voices rolling out in layered harmonics that reached every corner of 200 linked star systems. From the undergrids of Sol 3, representing raw humanity, Alex Rains. The drone cam zoomed in. Alex lifted one hand in a half wave, lips quirking. "Save the light show, folks. I'm just here to throw a few punches." A ripple of laughter spread through the lower tiers. Unexpected, warm, cutting the ceremonial hush like a knife through silk. Up on the royal platform, Commander Leora Vena rested her forearms on the rail, silver Cerilon armor catching stormlight in liquid waves. She watched the human tilt his head at the announcers, that easy half smirk never slipping. Her fingers drummed once, twice against the rail, a habit from centuries of fleet command. Something in the way he stood, loose yet balanced, reminded her of parade grounds long dust. She keyed her private comm, voice low, amused. "Win the whole thing with nothing but those hands, human, and I'll walk you to the temple doors myself." Alex glanced up, met her gaze across the gulf, and gave a small nod, thumb brushing the jacket cuff, challenge sealed. The brackets ignited across the central holoscreen. 128 opening matches, no mercy for the unenhanced. Alex's name locked against a star-armored beast from Korath 9. 8 meters of reactive ceramite grown for 50 G-worlds, hydraulic joints hissing like angry serpents. The combat disc irised open with a low groan. He stepped onto the polished circle, jacket flapping in the downdraft, while the beast lumbered forward, each footfall denting the deck, gravity clamps humming a low, hungry note. The starting tone chimed, clear, final. The beast charged, arms sweeping wide to crush. Alex breathed in, felt the rhythm, thud, 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 like a war drum under the roar. He slipped left, boot scraping sparks, ducked under a limb that bent the air itself. The crowd surged forward as one, 1,000 species holding one breath. Alex danced inside the reach, palms open, reading the pulse in the beast's chest servos. He struck, resonance strike, knuckles connecting with the central plate. A low thrum rolled out, invisible but felt in the sternum. The ceramite cracked along hidden seams, neural syncs stuttering like a skipped heartbeat. The beast froze mid-swing, optics flickering, then toppled, a fortress felled by rhythm alone. Silence. Then the arena erupted. But above the roar, a stream of soft light lifted from the fallen body, gentle, almost tender, spiraling upward through the open sky, vanishing into the distant silhouette of the Temple of Resonance, a crystal shard adrift in folded space. Alex watched it go, brow creasing just enough to show the question forming. From the stands, a young spectator from the Vega colonies gripped the rail until his knuckles paled, heart hammering with awe. Yet a cold thread of unease curled in his gut at how eagerly the light was swallowed. Whispers spread. Did anyone else see that? Was it always like this? The moment dissolved under the next bracket flash. Alex walked off the disc, jacket sleeve brushing sweat from his brow. The leather smelled of home, of rain-slick alleys, of his father's quiet voice. "Power ain't in the gear, kid. It's in the beat you carry inside." He flexed his knuckles, still buzzing with the beast's borrowed rhythm, and moved toward the fighter tunnels. Somewhere above, Leoravena's gaze followed, a faint curve touching her lips, intrigue taking root like a seed in cracked stone. The first round rolled on, lights rising like slow fireflies with every fall, and the temple drank them all, patient, endless, waiting for the next heartbeat to claim. Alex paused at the tunnel mouth, fingers tracing the worn zipper of the jacket, his father's last words echoing softer than the crowd. "Don't borrow strength, son. Grow it." He exhaled, rolled his shoulders, and stepped into the shadows where the next fight already waited. The tournament thinned like mist under a rising sun. 512 fighters left by the end of the first cycle, the arena's decks echoing emptier with every match, the air growing heavier with the scent of ozone and the sweat. Alex moved through the brackets the way a dancer reads music, instinct guiding each step, each dodge, treating every opponent's attack like a note in a larger rhythm that only he could hear. He slipped past energy lances that crackled blue, rolled under plasma arcs that left glowing scars on the deck, always listening for the heartbeat beneath the roar. Thud, pause, thud. In the fighter quarters, a long corridor of dim amber lights and humming recharge pods that lined the walls like sleeping giants, Alex leaned against a bulkhead, arms crossed, watching another stream of light rise from a distant ring after a quick knockout. It curled upward, soft as breath on glass, vanishing into the temple's faint glow on the horizon, a crystal needle piercing the void. He rubbed his jaw, voice low to himself, almost a murmur. "That's the third one tonight. Fourth if you count the warm-up," starting to feel less like a prize and more like a toll booth. The jacket's collar brushed his chin, familiar weight grounding him amid the alien hum of distant engines and whispered bets. Footsteps approached, measured, confident, the faint click of armored boots on grating. Leoravena stopped a few paces away, pressing a small med patch to a shallow cut along her forearm, the silver Cyrillan armor dented in one plate, but still gleaming under the lights. She glanced at him, eyes sharp yet softened by the dim glow. 2 centuries ago, my fleets numbered 500 warships, pride of the Empire. Now I'm patching scratches in a tournament hallway like some rookie. Her tone carried dry humor, but her fingers lingered on the patch a second longer than needed, pressing it flat with unnecessary care. Alex pushed off the wall, hands sliding into jacket pockets, shoulders rolling loose. "Fancy armor like that? Nah, and you're still bleeding. Guess even empires get rusty after a while." He flashed a grin, teasing, not mocking, the kind that crinkled the corners of his eyes. Leora's mouth twitched, almost a smile, her head tilting slightly. Humans always underestimate scale, until they're staring up at it, wondering how they fit. She nodded toward his jacket, fingers brushing her own dented plate. "That thing's older than some colonies I've conquered. Still holding together or just stubborn?" Alex shrugged, thumb tracing a frayed seam with affection. "Longer I wear it, the stronger it feels. Like it's borrowing my stubbornness." They shared a quiet chuckle, the sound echoing softly down the corridor. The next bracket flashed across the overhead screens. Alex versus a plasma-wielding assassin from a rogue moon colony, twin blades humming with contained suns, edges flickering white-hot. The combat disc activated with a low thrum. The assassin flickered in, strikes fast as thought, leaving trails of ionized air. Alex breathed deep, felt the pulse in the plasma coils, fast, erratic, hungry like a trapped storm. He matched it, stepped inside the arc, palms striking the hilt with precision. Resonance pulse rippled out, a silent wave. The weapon shattered in a shower of cooling sparks and molten fragments. The assassin stumbling back, hands empty, eyes wide in shock. Victory light rose again, brighter this time, lingering like it didn't want to leave, twisting lazily before accelerating upward. Alex timed it with a glance at his wrist counter. 47 seconds from collapse to full absorption, the temple's glow pulsing in perfect sync with the arena's distant heartbeat. He frowned, the pattern clicking into place like puzzle pieces, each fall feeding the same distant hunger. A data slate slid across the bench beside him, untraceable, blinking once in subtle green. Dr. K.L. Viras's voice whispered through the embedded calm, urgent but calm, laced with the weariness of exile. The energy output isn't random. It's feeding something massive, layered deep in the subchannels. Check after your next win, before they scrub the logs. Alex palmed the slate smoothly, glancing around. No one watching, just the hum of pods and distant cheers. Leora stepped from the shadows where she'd lingered, having overheard the tail end, her hand resting lightly on her sidearm, eyes narrowing with guarded suspicion. Helion exiles don't sneak messages for fun, Doctor. Start talking, or I start asking harder. Cal materialized via hollow projection from the slate, hands raised in placation, his lab coat flickering at the edges. Easy, Commander. We're on the same side of the corporate boot. Trust me. Helion Corps running the whole show. Tournament's just a harvest front. Emotions siphoned clean. Tension hung thick in the air, then eased as Ko laid out the basics in clipped sentences. Data flows, hidden conduits, the temple as battery. From Leora's private log, recorded later in the quiet of her quarters, voice soft against the hum of her armor rack, the human's unenhanced strikes moved like her people once did. Before the fall, before borrowed tech replaced will and turned warriors into extensions of machines. She paused the recording, fingers brushing the dent in her armor again, a small smile ghosting her lips, intrigue deepening into something warmer. The round closed with 256 left. Alex sat on a crate in the corner, clenching the jacket in one fist, the leather warm from his grip, creaking softly. He whispered to the empty air, voice steady but fierce, eyes fixed on the distant temple glow. Human will trumps borrowed power, every damn time. The next bracket loomed on the screens, but the seed of doubt, in the first threads of alliance, had already taken root, twisting quietly in the shadows. The medbay lights dimmed to a hushed amber, auto sanitizers whispering like distant rain, the air thick with the sharp bite of healing gel and the faint metallic tang of recycled oxygen. Alex sat on the edge of a cot, rolling his shoulder where a plasma graze had left an angry red welt, the skin puckering slightly under his fingers. He pressed a cool pack to the mark, wincing just a touch, teeth grazing his lower lip, but his eyes stayed locked on the door, waiting, listening to the corridor's muffled echoes. The jacket hung over the rail like a silent sentinel, its worn leather catching the low light in soft, familiar creases. Leora entered without a sound, armor half unlatched at the collar, revealing a fresh bandage wrapped tight around her upper arm. She slid onto the bench opposite, elbows planting on her knees, posture straight but weary. Her voice came low, edged with the gravel of old battles. Helion promised me a resurrection. My people, yanked from whatever black void swallowed them whole. All I had to do was win this damn thing. Her fingers twisted the bandage edge, slow, deliberate pulls betraying the storm behind her calm facade. Dr. Kyle Veras flickered into existence via secure hollow in the corner, his image sharpening with a static pop. Lab coat rumpled as always. He adjusted phantom glasses, voice clipped but urgent, rising just a notch. It's not physical energy they're siphoning, it's emotions, raw fear, desperate hope, the high of victory, harvested from 10,000 tournaments, stacked like endless batteries in the core. Data scrolls hovered midair, graphs spiking wildly with every fallen fighter, crimson lines feeding straight into the temple's pulsing silhouette. Alex's eyes narrowed, the cool pack forgotten in his grip. The door hissed open again. Mira Solon slipped through like a shadow. Moonblade Academy tattoos glowing faintly blue on her forearms. Twin swords sheathed in crossed scabbards across her back. She leaned against the wall, arms folding tight across her chest, boot tapping a restless rhythm on the floor. Overheard enough crawling the vents. Corporations turning every blade swing into profit margins. I'm done watching. Count me in, or I walk. Her eyes held steady on the group, but her fingers drummed the hilt of one sword. Nervous energy barely contained. They shifted to a hidden alcove behind the bay, cramped, dim, walls scarred from old maintenance, perfect for secrets. Kel projected a larger schematic, The temple's core buried deep in the 13th spatial layer, data streams twisting like roots from the arena's heart. Mira traced a stealth path with her finger, voice gaining edge. Slip in during finalist access, hack the flows, confirm the harvest before they lock it down. Alex nodded sharp, pulling the jacket back on, zipper rasping like a warning, the leather settling over his shoulders with a comforting weight. He grabbed a training dummy from the corner rack, setting it firm with a thud that echoed. Breath steady, deep, palm open, hovering. Then resonance pulse. Vibrations synced in a rising hum, the dummy dismantling from within, panels popping loose in a controlled cascade, screws tinkling to the floor like metallic rain. Leora watched, arms unfolding slowly, a low whistle escaping her lips. That's not borrowed tech. That's pure you. And it's terrifying. Her eyes gleamed with a mix of respect and rising fire. Leora unrolled a tactical map across the bench, faded holograms flickering to life, showing Helion fleets in formation, once 500 strong, now repurposed as tournament guardians orbiting tight. Her finger tapped a vulnerable cluster, voice hardening. They crushed my empire with these exact patterns. Arrogance doesn't change, even after centuries. Alex leaned in close, jacket brushing the projection's glow. Good, it means we know exactly where to hit them hardest. His fist clenched subtly, knuckles whitening, over shared ration packs in the alcove, steam curling from synth noodles in dented bowls, bonds tightened like coiled springs. Alex teased Mira's precise chopstick form, twirling his own messily. What? They teach sword forms and dinner etiquette at that fancy academy? She smirked, flicking a noodle his way with a snap. Better than your reckless shovel method. Jacket boy. Try not to choke on your ego. Laughter bubbled low, easy, cutting the mounting tension like a brief storm break. Quarterfinals loomed overhead on the bay screens. 128 fighters left. Alex felt his pulse oddly in tune with the rising lights, a subtle, insistent pull like an invisible tide. He flexed his hand, jacket sleeve riding up to reveal the welt, now fading but throbbing in rhythm. From the spectator stands, crowds cheered wildly for the underdog upsets. But whispers grew louder about the unnatural light shows, the way the arena's electric vibe drained with each absorption, cheers turning hollow and strained. A vendor paused mid-sail, tray trembling, staring up as another stream vanished, unease rippling through the tiers like the gas giants gathering storms. Back in the alcove, plans solidified into steel. Break the vicious cycle, free the trapped souls, drag Helion cores screaming into the open light. Hands clasped in a quick, fierce circle. Alex's calloused and steady, Leora's gauntleted with resolve, Mira's inked and gripping tight, Kale's hollow firm, but flickering with determination. The alliance locked in the dim glow, hearts beating faster now, ready to plunge into the deepening shadows ahead. The gravity arena warped the air into visible ripples, a 10-meter bubble where physics twisted like heated metal. The deck plates groaning and buckling under invisible, crushing strain. Alex stepped onto the disc, jacket flapping wildly in the distorted downdraft, his boots scraping desperately for purchase as gravity tugged one way, then yanked the other in erratic, nauseating waves. Across from him, Lord Darkin loomed like a walking eclipse, armor a living exoskeleton of black alloy that shifted and flowed like liquid night, edges sharpening into razor voids. Darkin slammed a massive fist to his chest, the impact rippling space outward in concentric rings that rattled Alex's teeth and blurred his vision. Flesh against void-bending might? You insult the very stars, human scum! His vox grills boomed, laughter echoing like thunder in a cavern. The starting tone blared, harsh, final, slicing through the tension like a blade. Darkin charged, each earth-shaking step compressing the air into visible shock rings, gravity claws extending like black talons hungry for flesh. Alex dove low, rolling through a fleeting pocket of null weight, heart pounding fierce. Thud, 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 matching the armor's distorted, grinding heartbeat that vibrated in his bones. He came up inside the reach, dodging a warped strike that crumpled the deck where he'd stood, metal twisting and screaming like tortured paper. Sparks flew. The crowd's roar swelled into a deafening wave. Battle raged in a frenzy, dark and hurling gravity wells that pulled at Alex's limbs with bone-crushing force, trying to fold him into a screaming singularity. Alex countered with desperate leaps and twists, boots skidding, reading the frequency in the low, ominous hum. Grinding, hungry, relentless. Sweat flew from his brow in arcs. He gritted his teeth hard enough to ache, a fist clenching till knuckles blanched white. "Come on! Give me the damn rhythm, you monster!" He lunged forward with a guttural yell, palms slamming the central chest plate, resonance pulse exploding outward in a visible, rippling shock ring that lit the arena blue. The armor shattered from within in a cataclysmic burst, fragments erupting in a violent storm of jagged shards, gravity field collapsing with a thunderous whoom that shook the entire platform. Darkin staggered back, optics flaring blood red, then dimming to black, his massive body crumpling to the deck with a final, earth-shaking thud. A massive light stream erupted upward, brighter and more violent than any before, twisting and writhing like a living serpent as it streaked toward the temple. Alex felt it, a sharp, agonizing pull deep in his chest, like iron hooks sinking into his soul, the jacket straining at the seam as if trying to tear free. In the medbay recovery room, lights harsh and sterile white, Leora burst through the door with a clang, armor scorched and dented, eyes wide and blazing with something raw and unguarded. She grabbed Alex's shoulders, gentle yet urgent, fingers digging in just enough to convey the storm inside, voice cracking with uncharacteristic emotion. You fight like the old legends carved in our halls. For legacy, not conquest. You remind me who I was before it all burned to ash." Her hands trembled on the jacket, thumbs brushing the worn leather repeatedly, as if drawing strength from its threads, her breath coming in short, heated bursts. Kale's hollow snapped into existence with a frantic static pop, datapads flying around him in chaotic orbits, his face pale and sweating. "Scans don't lie, they're perfect sync. Your biofield matches the temple's ancient signature down to the quantum level. You're the living key, engineered eons ago by the creators themselves." Graphs spiked in screaming red. Alex's vitals overlaid the core's pulse in eerie, identical waves. Alex pushed up from the cot abruptly, jacket swinging loose, face paling as he staggered a step. What the hell does that even mean? Tell me straight." His voice rose, fists balling at his sides. Kyle's voice pitched higher, hands gesturing wildly like a man drowning in data. "Touch the core. It reboots everything, consumes every single soul, stored across millennia to fuel a galactic surge, resets reality itself for Helion's endless grid." Mira paced the room in tight circles, swords clinking against her back with each furious step, fists balled so tight her knuckles cracked. "We're nothing but pawns in their game. All of us, dangled like bait." Tension crackled like live wires. Leora slammed a gauntlet on the bench, crack echoing sharp. Eyes blazing with fury and fear intertwined. Mira scouted ahead through the vents, returning breathless with hollow maps projected from her wrist, voice urgent and edged with panic. "Paths narrow to threads after semis. We debate now, or we lose the only window forever." The group huddled in a frantic cluster, arguments flying like shrapnel. Alex jabbing a finger at the scans, voice rising. Leora tracing fleet weaknesses with a trembling gauntlet. Kale overriding objections with rapid-fire data bursts. Alex's unintended role hung over them like a guillotine, his hand clutching the jacket zipper, yanking it up and down in frantic, rhythmic pulls, the metal teeth rasping louder with each pass. From Darkin's final moments, as the light pulled him inexorably upward, regret flooded his mind like a crashing tide. Countless lives crushed under his iron rule. Empires toppled in blind quests for glory. A peaceful, shuddering sigh escaped his vox grills, the light cradling him gently, almost forgiving, as his essence dissolved into the stream. Semifinals ended with a final bracket flash. 8 fighters left standing. Alex gripped the jacket tighter than ever, fabric bunching in his white-knuckled fists, inner fire flashing fierce and defiant. This proved raw spirit could shatter any design, but the cost loomed larger. The temple's call thundering like a siren in his blood, pulling harder with every heartbeat. The arena trembled faintly, as if the gas giant below sensed the gathering storm. Finalist access granted with a deafening klaxon that ripped through the arena like a war siren. Gates irising opened to a shimmering portal that folded space like crumpled foil, edges crackling with unstable energy. The Alliance slipped through under tournament guise. Alex in the lead, jacket whipping violently in the cross-dimensional wind that howled like a beast unchained. Lyra's armor clanking urgent, heavy steps behind him. Mira's blades were already drawn and glinting with lethal intent. Kale's hollow flickering wildly at the rear, his image stuttering in the interference. Crystal corridors stretched ahead, walls alive with inner light throbbing in sync with a colossal, unseen heart. Boom. Boom. Inside the temple, transparent prisms towered on every side. Glowing hearts suspended in each one, souls of countless warriors beating faint but insistent, their hymns rising in harmonic waves that echoed through the halls, pleading, desperate, a symphony of trapped eternity that clawed at the soul. Alex skidded to a halt, eyes wide with horror, chest heaving as he pressed a hand to the nearest prism. They're alive in there. Listen, can't you hear them begging? His voice cracked, fists clenching so tight the jacket seemed strained and popped a thread, knuckles popping audibly. Leora caught up, gauntlet slamming against a wall for support. My people. Gods, some of these hearts beat with Sorellan rhythm. Helion lied to me. Alarms blared in a cacophony, Helion guards activated in a massive swarm. Drones materializing from the crystal itself with emotion scanners glowing blood red, targeting raw fear to amplify the harvest to monstrous levels. Beams lashed out in searing bursts, feeding on doubt and panic. Leora shoved Alex aside with a grunt, her gauntlet sparking violently as she deflected a bolt that scorched the air. Not today! Not my people, you bastards! Her voice cracked with centuries of pent-up fury, armor plates rattling as she charged forward, plasma rifle barking in controlled bursts. Mira spun into the fray, blades a blur. Left flank, they're flanking us. Sween, Mira's blades danced in a whirlwind of steel. Slash after slash, spin, clang, carving through drone hulls in explosive bursts of sparks, shrapnel, and severed circuits raining down. Keep moving! They're pouring from every wall like rats. She vaulted a fallen prism with a warrior's cry, boots slamming down hard enough to crack the floor, sweat flying in arcs, her tattoos flaring brighter with each adrenaline-fueled strike. Kale dodged a beam, hollow body phasing through debris. I'm in the subnet, shields at 40%, hold them off. Kyle hacked panels mid-stride, fingers flying over glowing hollow keys in a frenzy, overrides sparking blue arcs that lit his panicked face. Energy flows confirmed, straight to the core. It's a river of stolen lives, billions strong. Data exploded across his projection in chaotic graphs, screaming red alerts. Numbers scrolling too fast to track. Alex synced a small pulse to a massive barrier ahead, hands slamming the crystal surface with a resonant thud, vibrations rippling outward like a shockwave, walls shattering in a thunderous cascade of razor shards that glittered like deadly snow. But the temple resonated back, stronger, a booming throb that slammed into him like a physical blow, dropping him to one knee, gasping in agony. It's fighting me, the pull. It's in my blood. Leora hauled him up roughly by the jacket collar, face inches from his, eyes blazing with fierce, unyielding fire. Fight it, Alex. Your rhythm, not theirs. You're stronger than this machine. Her grip trembled with raw, desperate determination. Echoes of Empire wars flashing in her rigid stance as she covered the rear, plasma bolts deflecting off her armor in fiery, explosive bursts that lit the corridor orange. Mira glanced back mid-slash. He's right, the sync is getting worse. We have to move faster. Deeper in the labyrinth, murals loomed gigantic on the walls. Ancient creators etched in glowing crystal, their hands raised in triumphant poses now cracked and mocking, revealing the temple's true purpose as a soul battery forged across galactic epochs of deception. The group burst into a vast cavernous vista, billions of suspended souls in endless prisms stretching into infinity, emotions fueling an immense glowing web that pulsed like a dying star on the verge of supernova. Mira staggered to a stop, blades lowering in shock, voice breaking. It's infinite suffering. How do we even begin to stop this nightmare? Kyle's hollow zoomed in on the web. The core is just ahead, but guards are tripling, one from a trapped soul's echo, faint but piercing through the chaos. An overwhelming yearning for release crashed over them like a tidal wave, sensing Alex's pure human rhythm as a blazing beacon of hope amid the endless despair. The hymn swelled dramatically, pleading louder, prisms vibrating in violent sympathy, cracks spiderwebbing across some. Arcturus Helion's hologram flickered into existence on a massive scale, towering over them like a smug god, voice booming through the halls in digital thunder. Intruders, how utterly quaint and futile. Your emotions, the purest energy in existence, dreams, fears, hopes, perfect batteries for my eternal empire. He laughed, a roaring digital cacophony that shook the prisms as more drones swarmed from every shadow and crevice. Alex stood tall amid the chaos, jacket torn at the sleeve, fists igniting with inner fire that cast shadows on his determined face. Your game ends here, you parasite. We're taking it all back. Leora raised her rifle. For every soul you stole. The temple quaked violently, suspense coiling tighter than a spring about to snap with cataclysmic force. The core chamber exploded into blinding view, a massive crystalline heart throbbing with stolen energies, veins of light pulsing wildly like arteries on the brink of catastrophic rupture, the air itself crackling with raw, harvested power. Helion's hologram towered godlike over the chaos, his digital face twisted in manic, triumphant glee that warped the light around him. Welcome to the heart of true power. Your emotions are mine, forever. Alex charged forward without hesitation, jacket shredding in the violent energy storm that whipped debris like shrapnel. We're shutting this nightmare down, right now. No more games. His voice roared over the thunderous hum, fists clenched so tight, veins bulged. Helion boomed back with a digital storm crackling around his form, lightning arcing from his projection. 50 systems harvested every year, whole empires built on your pathetic pain and hope. Drones swarmed in a tidal wave of mechanical fury, hundreds upon hundreds, emotion scanners, a flow ring crimson like demonic eyes, locking onto every spike of fear. Mira leapt high into the fray, blades a tornado of razor steel that carved the air. For every life you stole, you monsters die today. Slash. Boom! Drones exploding in massive fireballs that lit the chamber orange, shrapnel pinging off her armor. Leora formed up beside her, rifle blazing plasma bolts that melted drone hulls into slag. My empire dies no more. Take this, you thieves! Kyle was overriding systems mid-dodge, his hollow body phasing through blast as fingers flew in a blur. Virus uploading at 60%. Hold the line, damn it! Hold! Alex dodged energy lashes that feed on doubt, each searing hit amplifying fear, anger, hope into weapons that turned against them. He countered with growing pulses, boom after boom, shattering drones midair in explosive cascades of circuits and flame. Mira spun through the wreckage, sweat-soaked. They're endless. Alex, hit harder. Leora reloaded with a furious snarl. For Sorella, burn! Leora took a brutal hit, armor cracking with a sickening snap, blood trickling down her side in rivulets. I'll sacrifice myself. Overload it all. End this curse. She lunged toward the core with wild, desperate resolve, eyes wild and tear-streaked under her visor. Alex grabbed her arm, yanking back hard enough to spin her. No! You fight to live, not vanish like this. I won't let you. His voice roared over the chaos, face contorted in desperate, heart-wrenching fury, pulling her close for a split second. Kale shouted from his console, "Sacrifice won't work. We need the key." Helion activated full absorption, pulling at their emotions like inescapable black holes. Fear intensified to paralyzing levels. Anger boiled into rage. Hope surged painfully. Mira screamed through gritted teeth, blades trembling. "It's tearing me apart inside. Can't hold much longer." Kyle's hollow glitched violently, data corruption spreading. "Protocols maxed out. Emotions are fueling every damn system." Leora fired wildly, voice breaking. "We end this, together or not at all." Alex pushed through the pull. "Stay with me, all of you." Alex stepped closer to the core. Sensing fully, the temple recognizing the key with a deafening roar, light surging in a blinding apocalyptic storm that whipped winds strong enough to stagger them. "It knows me. It's calling, screaming in my head." Battle peaked to insanity. Alliance holding a razor-thin line amid the maelstrom. Mira slashing endless hordes with guttural cries. Kale uploading the virus in frantic, final bursts. Leora commanding like a general reborn from the ashes. Helion laughed maniacally, projection distorting. "You can't stop eternity. You're nothing," Mira countered mid-spin. "Watch us, you coward." From the arena outside, audience saw the temple flare, unnaturally bright, cheers turning to terrified, panicked murmurs as the entire platform shaking violently, lights flickering. Inside, Alex's eyes blazed with unyielding fire. "Watch me shatter your world." Energy coiled around him like a supernova ready to detonate. Climax building to universe, shattering explosion, Mira Yelmar through the din. "Alex, do it now, before it consumes us all." Leora braced against him. "I'm with you, to the end." Leora shielded him with her body, a living wall against the swarm. "For the galaxy, go, Alex, go." Kale's virus locked in with a triumphant beep. Core integrity dropping fast. Reverse the flow now. Helion's face twisted in pure rage, glitching. "No, you dare defy me?" The chamber quaked with seismic force. Cracks spiderwebbing the core, suspense at absolute fever pitch. Alex roared back. "Yes, we dare." Alex prepared the ultimate reversal, energy storm coiling tighter than ever, his final roar echoing through the void. "This is for every soul you trapped. Human pulse, unleash." Alliance braced as one, drones closing in for the kill, climax exploding like a star-gone nova, the universe holding its breath. Mira's final cry, "Break it all!" Leora's echo, "Freedom!" Alex entered the core willingly, energy engulfing him in a blinding, screaming maelstrom. Tendrils of raw light wrapping around his body like living chains, pulling at his very essence with bone-shattering force. He channeled every ounce of inner will into the human pulse, his heart thundering like a war drum, the jacket igniting in ethereal flames that danced across the leather. For every trapped soul, for humanity itself, reverse this hell now. Reversal flowed like a cosmic tsunami crashing through the void, energy waves rippling outward in explosive rings. Leora's voice cut through the roar from behind. "Alex, you're the key! Push harder!" Stolen emotions paused in a frozen heartbeat, then ignited in radiant, unstoppable unity, souls awakening with a galactic roar that shattered the oppressive silence and echoed across dimensions. Prisms cracked violently, exploding in massive cascades of shimmering light that filled the chamber like a supernova burst. Helion's projection screamed in digital agony, his form glitching and fracturing, feedback wave tearing him apart, pixel by pixel in a storm of static. "No, my empire, you can't destroy this. Stop." Corporate systems fractured galaxy-wide. Boom after deafening. Boom, networks collapsing in chain reactions. Mira hacked through remaining drones nearby. "It's working. Keep going, Alex." Leora fought desperately to his side, blades and rifle a furious storm of vengeance. Catching Alex as the pulse expanded exponentially, shattering prisms gently yet powerfully in waves of pure freedom. "Alex, hold on, you're doing it. You're freeing them all." souls released in overwhelming tidal waves. Not destruction, but glorious liberation, streaming as luminous snow across the infinite stars, painting the void in brilliant auroras. Mira slashed the last drone swarm with a triumphant yell. "They're free, every single one. Look at them go!" Kyle's hollow cheered amid the light. "Virus integrated. The harvest is dead." The temple cracked from deep within, crystal labyrinth collapsing in controlled yet cataclysmic bursts that lit the void like 1,000 fireworks detonating in symphony. Alex smiled through the overwhelming glow, whispering with his final, fading strength, voice steady despite the dissolution. "True strength comes from what can't be borrowed or taken." He dissolved into pure radiant light, body fading in a brilliant, heart-wrenching flash that illuminated the entire chamber. Lyra caught the empty jacket as it fell, screaming raw with grief. "Alex, no, come back. You can't leave us." Her knees buckled, clutching the leather to her chest. The Alliance escaped amid the monumental shatter, Mira and Cal supporting Lyra on either side, carrying Alex's fading light form as massive shards rained like comets streaking through the portal. From Lyra's shattered viewpoint, his heartbeat echoed one last, powerful time, pure, unborrowed, resonating through her soul, then fell silent forever. "You did it. You freed us all. At what cost?" The pulse faded gradually, leaving a profound, echoing silence, the vicious cycle broken for eternity. Mira wiped tears furiously. He was the heartbeat we needed. Billions of souls freed in a galactic sigh that rippled across systems. Souls soaring free in joyous streams, stars twinkling brighter as if celebrating. Helion's final scream echoed into the endless void, his empire crumbling to digital dust in waves of failure. Kel's hollow stabilized amid the light show, voice triumphant yet somber. "It's over. The harvest ends forever, thanks to him." Mira collapsed to her knees in the escape corridor. "He gave everything. Absolutely everything?" Lyra pressed the jacket to her face. "Your sacrifice." It echoed. The temple's final apocalyptic crack resounded, shards exploding outward in a breathtaking symphony of light that blanketed the gas giant below. Lyra clutched the jacket tighter, tears streaming unchecked down her armored cheeks. "Your heartbeat rewrote the laws of gods themselves." Climax peaked in universe-altering glory. Every prism gone, every soul liberated. Souls whispered eternal thanks in harmonic waves. Freedom ringing true. Kyle scanned the aftermath. No more temple. No more pain. The escape portal flickered wildly, Alliance tumbling out into the arena as the temple imploded behind in a final earth-shaking boom. The arena plunged into stunned chaos, spectators awed into silence, then erupting in mixed cheers and sobs. Alex's lingering light lingered for a heartbeat, then vanished completely, his legacy eternal and unbreakable. Lyra's final broken whisper amid the falling shards. "Goodbye, my hero. The galaxy will never forget." Mira stood tall. He won. We all won. Shards rained like fallen stars across the gas giant's violet storms, luminous fragments drifting slow and graceful, catching flashes of indigo lightning in gentle fading sparks before dissolving into the swirling clouds far below, leaving trails of soft glow that lingered like memories. The tournament arena emptied in stunned, reverent awe. Decks once thundering with bloodlust and corporate cheers now hushed to whispers. Helion cores towering banners flickering weakly before shorting out one by one, their logos crumbling like brittle ash in the wind. Lyra stood alone at the shattered departure gate, the jacket clutched tightly to her armored chest, the worn leather still radiating faint warmth from Alex's final, brilliant light, his essence lingering in the seams. She pressed it closer, voice a broken murmur. You really did it." Years slipped by like quiet, healing breaths. Lyra founded the Resonance Academy on the gas giant's largest moon, a vast ringed campus of translucent crystal domes intertwined with living wood that pulsed softly with harmonic energy, where 1,000 students from across the reform systems trained yearly under open starlit skies. No more deaths, no hidden harvests. Contests now focus solely on syncing inner rhythms, proving unbreakable will through acts of creation, collaboration, and harmony rather than conquest or destruction. Mira walked the expansive training yards at dawn, blades sheathed at her hips, demonstrating pulse-infused forms to clusters of wide-eyed cadets who mirrored her movements with growing confidence. Feel the beat deep inside. That's your true power, not some machine or artifact. A young cadet stumbled, then synced, smiling wide as the rhythm clicked. Dr. Kale Veras archived every fragment of the temple's fall in vast, secure data vaults beneath the academy, holologs replaying the final human pulse in slow, reverent loops for scholars and historians, his voice steady but softened by time and reflection. He proved emotion isn't fuel to be siphoned. It's the freedom that binds us all. The central statue of Alex Rains rose proud in the campus plaza, carved in enduring stone, his jacket flowing eternally in the wind, the inscription etched deep and glowing faintly at night. The human spirit rewrites the laws of gods. Visitors from distant worlds pause to touch it, feeling a subtle thrum, like a heartbeat. Leora visited the statue often at dusk, when the twin sun dipped low and painted the moon in warm amber, her fingers tracing the carved seams of the jacket with quiet reverence, eyes distant but peaceful. You taught the entire galaxy to listen again, to its own heartbeat, loud and clear. A gentle wind carried faint, ethereal hymns from the freed souls, echoes of gratitude woven seamlessly into the evening breeze, harmonizing with the Academy's distant practice drills. She closed her eyes, letting the sound wash over her. Former warriors from the trapped prisms integrated smoothly into new thriving societies, sharing their stories of sudden release around glowing campfires on reclaimed worlds, their eyes bright with the spark of second chances and hard-won wisdom. Alex's legacy pulsed in every corner of the reformed galaxy, empathy as the ultimate, unstealable power, a single heartbeat strong enough to unite fractured stars and heal ancient wounds. Children on Earth's rebuilt slums wore patch jackets in his honor, practicing basic pulses in alleyways, smiling at the rhythm they felt inside. From a young student's perspective in the Academy's main yard, watching advanced harmony drills under the twin suns, feeling the collective rhythm sink perfectly in their chest, sensing endless, boundless potential blooming like the first light of dawn. They smiled wide, placing a fist to their heart in salute. Alex's beat, alive and thriving in them, in everyone. A fellow cadet nodded. That's him, still guiding us. Indeed, the galaxy breathed freer than it had in millennia. The tournament of wishes fully reborn as a beacon of life, growth, and unity, not loss or exploitation, students laughing as they synced in perfect waves, rhythms blending into beautiful symphonies, no ominous light streams rising to feed any hungry void. Leora looked to the stars one final evening from her quarters, the jacket folded neat on a small altar beside a single glowing shard. Rest easy, kid. We're all listening now. The shard pulsed once, soft, affirming, soft.